variance does not affect or impact the ability to do that.
All right, fair enough. Motion is on the floor to grant the variance. Any further comments, questions from the board? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. That's the end of our zoning board of adjustment agenda for today. I look for a motion to adjourn the zoning board. All right, Vince made the motion to adjourn, and Mike Gallagher seconded that motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, we will now commence the Rapid City Planning Commission meeting for August 10th, 2023. Again, if any member of the audience wishes to speak to an item on the Planning Commission agenda today, you can fill out a speaker request form that are located along the left wall and hand it to the staff over there. And if you haven't turned off your cell phone or any other electronic device or put them on silent, please do so now. Items 1 through 3 have been placed on the consent calendar today and may be approved as a group. Action will be taken on all consent items in accordance with staff's recommendation by a single vote. Any item may be removed from the consent calendar by any planning commissioner, staff member, or audience member for separate consideration at this time. The findings of this planning commission are recommendations to the city council. The city council will make the final decision with the exception of the following items. Item 323 UR 023. The Rapid City Planning Commission's action on this item is final unless any party appeals that decision to the Rapid City Council. All appeals must be submitted in writing to the Department of Community Development by close of business on the 7th full calendar day following action by the Planning Commission. Are there any items 1 through 3 that staff would like removed? All right.
Number 2, please.
Number 2. Any items 1 or 3 that the commission would like removed? Or that the audience would like removed, 1 or 3?
I don't understand them. What are they for?
These are, if you can speak from the microphone, but what we're doing, there's 4 items on the Planning Commission agenda. The first one is meeting minutes. The second one is a preliminary subdivision plan, and the third one is a conditional use permit. These can be approved without discussion on each individual one, but are you here for a particular
Yes,
item?
I am. They're trying to put the Hope Center
Okay.
right by some schools and the DAV, and that's why I'm here.
That's item number 4. We will discuss that separately.
Okay.
And,
I just don't want to miss it. But
you bet.
okay. Thank you.
No problem. All right, I think we're good to vote on item 1 and 3 together. If there's a motion on that from the... Okay. Mike Gallagher made the motion to approve items 1 and 3 per the staff's recommendations, and Brooke seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We pulled this item to allow Kelly to abstain.
All right. Okay. Karen made the motion to approve item number 2, and Brooke seconded that motion. And Kelly will be abstaining from item 2. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4.
So this item is a final plan development overlay to allow Mission with no overnight lodging at 630 East Boulevard North. This property is intended to be the new location of the Hope Center, which is a nonprofit organization that provides support services to those living in poverty and without homes. This item was continued at the previous Planning Commission meeting to allow time for staff to meet with the applicant and to address concerns at their current location. The property is zoned general commercial district. Future land use is mixed-use commercial. The property is accessed by East Boulevard North, which is classified as a collector street on the city's major street plan. This is the proposed site plan. 12 parking spaces are being proposed. There will be 4 full-time, 3 part-time staff members, and up to 6 volunteers each day to facilitate the services provided. In June of this year, the Hope Center hired a full-time security guard who monitors inside and outside the facility and screens guests as they enter. This is the main level floor plan. Their current location has capacity for 62 people and provides services to 200 guests daily. This building is intended to accommodate the increased number of guests and to expand current services. This is the upper level floor plan. The hours of operation are expected to remain the same and are Monday through Thursday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And Friday from 8 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. This is the exterior elevations. There are upgrades being proposed to the exterior, as you can see. The current location has 10 security cameras, which will be transferred to this property. Security lights, cameras, and signage will be used to discourage guests from congregating at the center outside of normal business hours. So public notice was posted on the property. We did receive 2 letters and 1 phone call in opposition and 3 letters in support. This is looking north along East Boulevard. This is looking south along that same street. Staff is recommending that this item be approved, subject to the stipulations outlined in the report. One of those stipulations is that the plan development shall be reviewed by the Planning Commission in 6 months from the date the use is initiated at the new location. And with that, I'll stand for any questions, and the applicant is in the audience as well.
Mr. Chair,
Vicky?
the reason that we put the stipulation to review this 6 months from the date of opening, this is something that we did similar for Cornerstone Mission when they proposed to open up a women's group home along 5th and Texas Street. There was concern from the neighborhood, and we made the compromise that we would go back and look at it after 6 months to ensure that the operators were doing everything they needed to do to mitigate any influence or impact that their guests had on that neighborhood. And it worked out very well. When we came back after 6 months from the date of opening, we even had neighbors that showed up to support the use. So they really reached out and did a great job with that neighborhood. In this instance, the applicants have indicated that it may be a minimum of 2 and maybe even up to 3 years before they can relocate to this location, as they're continuing on with fundraising and making the renovations and redesigning the parking lot and all of those things. And so that allows us to continue monitoring their current location, while at the same time, when they do open, whether it's 2 or 3 years down the road, going back and looking at it in 6 months keeps everyone accountable, so that we ensure that the use does not have that negative impact on the neighborhood. Mind you, we have had issues with folks camping in this area, warming shelters sprouting up. Those were not approved or allowed, and so with the assistance of code enforcement, we have been able to stop that activity. Currently, as it sits today, those issues don't exist on this property or directly around this property. Of course, when the Hope Center does get relocated here, if that should be the desire of the city, we would need to assess that situation at that time as well. So that's a unique stipulation. You don't see that in a lot of our applications, but in this case, because of the nature of the use, we do think that we need to come back and look at it once it is operational.
All right, Eric Hikas?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be abstaining from this item, and I may speak on behalf of the applicant and the team. So, thank you. I'm sorry, in support of the project.
If you intend to speak, we would ask you to step off the
I will do
dais
that.
for this.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, I have several speaker request forms on this item. We'll start with Patricia Maher. And once you're up at the mic, just identify yourself by name for our notes.
Hi, my name is Patricia Maher. If you go back to another, looking north on the pictures. Yeah. I live right next, on the other side of that big, I call it a skyscraper. It should have never been built there. But I live right next to that apartment building. And I've lived there for 32 years, so I know what kind of traffic I have in that area. I have foot traffic, lots of it. Right now, I mean, and it's growing over the years, okay? Now, if that Hope Center gets put there, and don't get me wrong, I'm all for helping people. I have a social work degree, so I'm all for helping people come from bad places. But I'm concerned. I'm concerned with this. There's so much foot traffic. There's people even camping in that parking lot in that apartment building overnight in their cars. They're staying in there. The foot traffic is just terrible. I'm worried about, I've seen what the Hope Center looks like downtown. I see that traffic around that building. I'm aware of it. If I have that up there, you don't even know what I've been dealing with in the last 3 months with. I think the Hope Center's in apartment 1 to begin with right now. I've been dealing with all the traffic in that apartment building. And if I got to deal with the Hope Center down there too, I've lived there 32 years. I don't want to move. I like my house. I like my neighborhood. I like my neighbors. There's kids. There's kids in that apartment building. There's a trailer court behind there full of kids. There's kids that play all over there. I'm worried about these sex offenders. In this Hope Center, do they screen their people that come in there? Are they sex offenders? I don't know. Do they know? How is their screening? I'm worried about the people. They're elderly that live in that area too. I've heard stories in Rapid City where people break into elderly's homes and attack them and stuff and kill them, for that matter. I've heard that. I'm worried. That's my neighborhood. I've been there 32 years, and I'm worried about that coming up that way. It's already bad without it being there. Even in 2 and 3 years, I hate to see what that traffic's gonna look like up there. It's bad. There's schools. There's kids that walk to school. Actually, there isn't even as many kids that walk to school anymore because of the threat of the way people are today. You can't even trust people. So I am a concerned citizen about that Hope Center being there. Why couldn't it have been put, say, like, and I don't know who owns what buildings in this town, but Prairie Market, that would have been a great location for the Hope Center. That would be just ideal. That's where a lot of them start, and then they walk up that way and they walk up north, you know. It's a pathway. But Prairie Market would have been a better location, or Albertsons for that fact. I think, not up there where there's kids and people that live. These are our homes up there. We don't need that. I know that that's a business commercial area right there. But as you can tell, it's not been very good business commercial area, has it? Had the Dee Dee's Indian Bar there, and I'm gonna say it, that's what they called it, Dee Dee's Indian Bar. I dealt with that when I first moved into my house. I had the natives passed out in my driveway, okay? And I do know they pass out all over the place. I walk a lot every day. And so I see this stuff. And I dealt with it 32 years ago. I don't want to deal with the same thing again. I'm trying to clean up that neighborhood. I go around that neighborhood and pick up the garbage every single week because people don't know how to throw the garbage in garbage cans. I pick up the neighborhood garbage, okay? And so I would suggest it be put somewhere else. That's just my suggestion. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Brad Clausen?
Pastor Brad Clausen. Been here about 25 years. Run a ministry called Woven Cord Ministry. Work with men mostly, boys, men. Right now, mostly 20-somethings up to 80-somethings. Worked with the Juvenile Service Center for a while, volunteering. I'm a volunteer. I don't have a church. I just work with people, men mostly, sometimes families. I volunteer at the Hope Center. I lead the devotional there once a week. Been working with the Hope Center about 10 years. We have some issues in our community, and we're going to have some more issues in our community until we start to until our society decides, can figure out how to deal with mental illness and drug addiction and alcoholism. Right now, the Hope Center deals with the poorest of the poor. There are other agencies like Love Inc. and Life Inc. that work with working poor. The mission has another format. My question to you is, because the Hope Center is on a lease that's going to expire, and then it will be no more, my question to you, the property's already purchased, it's already there, they've already got the purchase agreement, it's already finished. My question to you is, what happens if they close it down? Where do the people go that come in for a warm place on a cold day? Where do they get their mail? Where do they get their phone contacts? Where do they go on a hot day? Where can they get some water? Public facilities are not very available. There's some that show up. You'll probably have more congestion at the library, different places. You won't stop the congregating. You probably will lead some people up to that area, and they won't be on the streets downtown. I have some friends that are homeless, a lot of friends, and they're trapped. And they're trapped by their own choices, they're trapped by society, they're trapped by just life. And our job and our goal and our heart is to help them. Some make it out, not many. This is the poorest of the poor. These are the most broken. When I deal with women or young men who have been abused since they were 5 or 6 years old, you have deep emotional trauma. The drug addiction is often pain medication for deep wounds that go back many, many decades. We're here to help, to encourage, to strengthen, to protect. And we want to give them a safe place during the day. We don't keep them after night. We just want them to have a safe place. If you don't have a mailbox, you can't get letters. If you don't have access to a phone, you can't make phone calls. If you don't have access to a washing machine, you're going to have dirty clothes. If you don't have a shower, you're going to smell. Those things would be provided and are provided to some degree. We're going to add some showers, I believe. That's the goal. You can't crawl out of poverty without some help. You can't get back into the mainstream of society without some help. Now, there's other issues, and most of the people at this level aren't going to change. They just aren't. We're seeing an increase in homeless. We do know that the rumors on the street that they're coming from Denver, and they're putting them on buses and shipping them here. Now, we can ship them somewhere else, but that isn't going to help our long-term situation. The streets are violent right now. This is a safe place during the day. There's a lot of people come in with black eyes. If you see guys walking down the street with a walking stick, it's not because they're crippled. It's because it's not safe. You see homeless walk in packs because it's not safe. This is a safe place for the day. That's all it is, just for the day. But at least for one day, for 8 hours, you get a safe place. I would ask that you would approve this facility being built there. Thank you.
Thank you. Billy Joe Brown.
Good morning, my name is Billy Joe Brown. I live in that trailer court behind this place. I did meet with the Hope Center, and I did go over and I explained to her about, okay, we got Central, we got General Beetle, we got the Boys Club, we got the Girls Club, and we got the DAV. These people went out and they came back damaged from protecting us. Now we're gonna let this come into the neighborhood. Any one of them could get pushed down and get totally ruined. Okay, I went there and I talked to her. I said, why don't you go to the old social services building? You drive up East North, there's your clientele. You'll be right in the heart of it. Why is it that this is so important that we put this in a neighborhood with the Boys Club, the Girls Club, General Beetle, North, and the DAV, the Disabled American Veterans buildings right there? They've gotten broken into so many times. They put barbed wire around their whole fence now. I've watched these people. I've chased them away from my grandkids. Don't ask them for a cigarette. Don't even talk to them. When one guy came into my yard and he wanted the kids to go help him find his dog, I chased him down, and the DAV people helped me catch him. And he was drunk, and he probably didn't even know what he was doing. But I said, you don't come into my yard and ask these kids to go help you find a dog. Do not do that. I have meth heads running around in my neighborhood that it's getting so bad up there that we don't go out. Once the sun goes down, these people come out. Okay, I don't know if they're scared of the sun or what. Okay, they come out, and they come out in droves. I've been going around videoing those girls up on East North. They're hiding. I said, why are you hiding? You guys want to sit up here on this corner? Why are you guys sitting up here? Maybe it's an easy fix. Maybe it's a hard fix. We all know why those people are sitting up there today, because of what the old mayor did. He got embarrassed, so let's embarrass the whole city. You see all of them sitting up there? They came fresh off of our reservations. Us Indians that lived in the city, obeyed these rules, and paid these taxes, you don't see us sitting up there. If it's our last dollar to pay our bill, that's what we're gonna do. But we got all these organizations coming in. Let's help this one, let's help that one. Why don't we help the ones that are actually here trying to help themselves? Look at what happened to Journey On. Oh my God, that's embarrassing. And I watch them. I got on my phone. I go around and I video. I video what's going on in the city, because apparently they want it to be in my neighborhood. Why don't we take it to somebody else's neighborhood? They're all up on East North McDonald's. How many McDonald's do we have in this city? Let's divide them up and let's go place them at these other McDonald's. You would see them being arrested left and right, because nobody at the other side of town wants them there. I take pictures of them passed out. Toby's Casino said, there's nothing we can do. They'll call Journey On. Journey On will come, load them up, and unload them behind their building. What is the help of that? How is that helping us? I'm sorry you guys don't have a big enough building, but social service, the old social services building on East North, that would be ideal. You guys would have your clientele right there, because they're all up there on East North. But why are we doing this? Why do we keep helping them if they don't want to help themselves? I will help you if you want help, if you want to help yourself. But if you don't want to help yourself and you want to continue doing what you're doing, I can't help you. But I'm saying we got a lot of kids, a lot of children's organizations in that area. And I asked them, I said, how come the city can't buy that and make it a big daycare? Put in a roller skating rink. There is nothing in this city for these young kids, nothing. I see why they choose to walk that street, live underneath those bridges. There's nothing. There's no roller skating rink. There is absolutely nothing in this city for these kids. I sit on my porch and I chase people. On my road, that's a speed trap. Those guys will speed up and down. It's just a turnaround. You can't go all the way through it. But you'll see these cars coming back and forth. DAV is a good example. Go get their film. They got film all the way around their building, and see what goes on up there in the night. I'm sorry you guys are your buildings, but if you look downtown, how many of those businesses down there jumped ship because of what was going on? They actually took their business somewhere else. They didn't want it down there because of what's going on. And I can't have that up there. We have we have schools there. We have Boys Club, Girls Club. We have the DAV up there. Plus we have the residents. So I don't agree with that at all. But there is other buildings for you guys. There's the old social services up there by Kmart. If you guys ever drive up there, and I don't know where any of you all live, but if you ever drive up on East North, look at it. That is embarrassing. And it hurts me because I'm part of that. I'm a Native American. And here I am watching my people. But a lot of these guys, they just came fresh off the reservations. They've never, ever worked here and paid these bills or taxes. So they don't know how. But I don't know how many of you guys ever been on a reservation. I don't know if they took you to a certain part of it so you guys would think this is how it. No, you need to go down there one day and start. You turn by Kadoka. You get down, it's called 7 Mile Corner. There's a junction right there. You take the left or the right. You take the left, you're going to Rosebud. You take the right, you're going to Pine Ridge. You drive through those, I'm just saying, just Wombly and Corn Creek. You go through those two and you will see the end of the world. I'm not kidding you. You will see the end of the world right there. They do not care. Their tribe doesn't care. All I see right now is all these organizations coming out right when the pandemic hit. Boy, we got Journey On, we got NDNN, we got Nick Tilson. We got all these people coming out here and getting all this money saying they're gonna help the people. Well, where's that help at? I see Journey On go up there, give them a sandwich and a bottle of water. How is that helping them? And I understand people need an address. They need some kind of shelter. That's why we got the mission. So we need to revamp the mission to figure out why are they kicking I went to that meeting. She said they kick them out at 6 o'clock in the morning. Why is the mission kicking out these people at 6 o'clock in the morning? We give them enough money. They should be able to house them all day and all night. And I know how this looks. It looks like we're all picking on them. I'm not. I am trying to save these little kids that are out there, that the walkabout's coming, want a cigarette, want a drink of water, want to use a phone. When Dee Dee's Bar was there, my mom lived in that trailer court. She came out and told them, don't come over here and ask for a ride, a cigarette, to use my phone or to use my bathroom, because I'm telling you right now, it's no. And they never, ever, ever went over there and bugged her. They would walk by and wave at her, say hi, but they never, ever bugged her again about using that. This is not good. If anything I want to see in that area, let the city build a big daycare, Head Start, with a group center for all these young kids. I have nephews and grandkids that walk from the YMCA back up to their house, and it's that same route. The other night, they came running in, and they said, there's a guy over there, and he's playing with himself. Well, by the time I got out there and looked, there was no guy out there. So I said, take off walking home. I will watch you guys. Because where I'm at, I could see all the way up to the fire station. And they live in the apartments up there, not the ABCs. I watched them until I couldn't see them no more. I went in and I called my niece, and she said, I'm at work. I don't get off until 1:30 in the morning. I said, then you better make sure your kids are in that house and the doors are locked. Twice DAV came over, because we use DAV. There's nothing in this city for these kids. We use DAV's parking lot so the littler ones could ride around on their scooters and their bikes. Twice he came over and he told me, Billy Joe, that guy is so drunk and he's not on my property, so I can't say anything, but he's across the street. He said, I'm scared he's gonna do something with one of your kids. The other day, 3 days ago, a dog went and attacked a cat and shredded him in my trailer court. That could have been any one of those kids. We called the cops. They sent us a accident investigator. And these are little kids, and I try to get information out of them to tell this cop so we could find this dog. Well, that little girl, she's little, she don't talk very good. She say, him's Lelo, and he's got dots on him. Well, that's not a very good explanation. Right after that gets done, some guy comes in there, he's spinning cookies around in the trailer court. So I chase him down. I get cussed out every day. I don't care. I said, they came out and yelled at me. told me not to call the cops. I said, I'm saving your guys' kids along with mine. We don't need no more drama up there.
Mrs. Brown, can I ask you to wrap up? I appreciate the comments on the neighborhood.
Yeah, but
we need
so
to get to other folks
is
too.
this going to be it? You guys already made your done deal, your vote. You're gonna move the Hope Center up there.
We have to discuss it as well as it goes to city council after this, I believe.
But you guys will drive up there, right? Some of you? You'll drive up
I've
on.
already driven up there.
No,
I
not
can't
just there. Drive up east-north. You start down by Perry Market and you go all the way up it. You'll see all their clientele right there. The perfect building for them is the old social services. That is ideal for them. They got their clientele there. It's not a residential. There's no houses around there like what I have. But I just don't agree with this. You guys don't know what you're doing up there. You're going to bring us more trouble.
Thank you. We really appreciate your comments on this.
Mr. Chair,
Vicky?
just a point of clarification. So Planning Commission, your action today is final unless anyone should appeal your decision to City Council within 7 calendar days of today. So if there's any audience member today that doesn't like or anyone watching this or hearing about it, doesn't like the decision of the Planning Commission, then they can send us an email, drop a note off at the office. We just need anything in writing that says, I appeal the decision of
Do
the
you guys
planning-"
need signatures? Because I'll go around my neighborhood and get
I
signatures.
think it's just one.
No, just
Yeah.
one,
Just one?
just
Yep.
one.
You got it.
All right, Eric Hikas, if you'd like to speak to this.
Good morning, Eric Hikas, 1115 West Boulevard. Terrasite Design has been the planner on this project for about 2 years. So the project needs vigorous support. Good projects tend to be controversial. This is controversy. This is very true. The homeless challenge is something that will not go away without action or programs like these. As our community grows, it is likely that this problem will also grow. We need these kind of programs in place. Essentially, this facility is it's a moment of respite. It's a moment of humanity for these people, right? It's also giving them some of their basic needs so that they can function, right? This project's also a matter of process. This final development plan marks a milestone. This isn't the first time we've been in front of this group. We've had multiple initial plan developments, right-of-way vacations, all this in preparation for this moment to unveil the final development plan. It's been a collaboration with the planning group and our stakeholders and this design team. Also, and standing in front of you, I can tell you, being on a number of controversial projects in this community and others, that the vocal minority is not always a representative of the community's majority or the community's better interests. So take that into account in your decision making today. Thank you.
All right, I don't have any other speaker request forms. Commission, Vince?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If I may, I'd like to ask the pastor a couple of questions. He spoke earlier, if I can get a follow-up to a couple of things that you were saying.
Sure.
You say your mission is not necessarily in a building, but that you normally work on the streets? Or?
I do a lot of street work. I do a lot of one-on-ones. I'm kind of peripheral on the homeless. They enter into my life through the Hope Center and through friendships, and so I know guys on the street, people on the street.
So If you were living in that apartment building, which the lady was calling a skyscraper earlier.
Yep.
Yeah, and if you were living there, what would be your concerns about this?
To be honest,
Yes.
our problem is that our police force has decided that there's certain things they'll deal with and certain things they won't deal with. So we can call the cops when some things are going bad. They may or may not show up on time. That's just the reality.
Okay.
Is that right?
True, very true.
Yeah.
I don't call the cops, I call my.
Right, because we've made decisions as a city that there are certain things that we're just not gonna deal with. Because they're minor, we have bought into a little bit of what's going on in the rest of the United States. It's just easy, we don't prosecute kids for minor drug crimes anymore. I'll tell you what, any kid on the street who gets busted for grass, weed, they're gonna go for 24 hours maybe, and then they're gonna get kicked out. They know, they understand. So the less we enforce the laws that we have on the books, so if we've got incidents going on, unless it's extremely violent, we may not see anybody come to the Hope Center.
Okay. Well, sir, one of the passions that I heard you speak about is that you want to reach someone maybe at the bottom, somebody who has gone through and is having problems and issues.
Right.
My question is that are you willing to walk on those streets to
Yes, I would be.
Mhm.
I do.
And one of the ladies that was speaking earlier, she even spoke about some of the pedestrian traffic that takes place in that
Right.
neighborhood. Are you aware of it right now? Are you
I am.
Okay. Can
Yeah.
you give any kind of idea of how you're dealing with that?
How I'm dealing with the pedestrian traffic between north, the mall and downtown?
Well, with your mission. Yeah.
Listen, I talk with guys. That's what I do. I don't go out and police things.
Right.
I have relationships with guys who are broken. So do I do anything specifically to deter traffic between East North Street and the mall or La Crosse? No. Once in a while I'll run into somebody who's got a problem. A year ago, one of the guys that I know was drunk and in Walmart, and the cops were coming, and I just basically helped him get out of the door. I told the cops I could take care of it, and they did. Am I answering your question?
Yeah, I think you are, because you're saying that that's an effective way of dealing with it as opposed to locking someone up?
No,
or
I'm
what?
saying that there's
Okay.
certain things in this city that should be locked up because there's a lack of a fear of consequences for your actions. But until we decide to do that, we're going to have more and more difficulty with people
So how
who
would-
have a freedom to feel like they can. But most of the people that we're dealing with, the ones that come regularly, now we're not talking about people that just come in on an occasion. She's right, the res guys come up, they have less understanding of how to live in society up here. They've got a lot of issues they've got. Some of the drug gangs have come up. They're staking territory on meth. North, the woods area. You know how rough that is up there. You know how much violence is going on. You know the guns that are coming in and out. I hope you do.
Well, first of all, I walk a lot of these streets, quite
Yes.
frankly, and the Hope Center downtown. I shop down there.
Yep.
And I'm a veteran.
Okay.
So I've been to the Veterans Building over there, just for your information. But what I'm trying to ask is, how would you be a good neighbor?
How would I be a good neighbor to the Hope Center if it were related there? I would
right.
be volunteering there. Because that's what I do now. Is that, I'm
No,
not
you're
catch-
answering it. You're
Yeah, okay.
answering it. You're saying that you do have you.
I have
do
a Christian worldview. It is
Yeah.
my responsibility to work with the upper class, the middle class, the lower class, and the lowest of the low. The stories that I can tell you would curl your hair of woundedness that has come into this community. These people are broken and wounded from many, many different things.
Right.
From incest on up to rape to violence to Jonathan White Magpie, good friend of mine, gave his testimony last night. He got his first can of beer when he was 8 years old. He tried to commit suicide twice. He came to Christ when he was 39. Been drinking for almost 40 years. The brokenness in these communities, this community specifically, needs compassion. It needs our help.
And this is the neighborhood that's going to do it.
No, the neighborhood is, we're gonna do, the neighborhood, I don't know what the neighborhood's gonna do. Maybe they're just gonna be mad. But those of us outside the neighborhood are working downtown right now. We have volunteers that come from all over the city to come and help people who are broken. And what this neighborhood decides to do is, I don't know, I can't make that decision, I don't live there.
Okay.
No, I walk the streets with people though, and I work with people who are very, very broken and very hurt, and most of them are not violent. Most of them are not violent.
Okay. Pastor, I thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I was just trying to get some
No,
clarifications.
you're good.
on-
And
on-
if
on
any other
some of the things
questions?
you said. No, that's it.
Okay.
Karen?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was born in this city, and I've lived in North Rapid until I was married. Well, even after I was married, I guess. Except for the last 20 years, I've lived in North Rapid. I'm very familiar with North Street because that's where my home was when I was a kid. And, of course, that's years ago. I'm not going to say how many, but several years ago. But there's been times over the years when I was, when I was a kid, I could go out at midnight and walk around my neighborhood and not worry about it. And my folks never worried about it. Times have changed, and it's difficult to comprehend, but how to solve the homelessness. Cities, the whole world is having a trouble trying to figure out how to do that. And people try real hard to help each other and help those that they can. But there's always those others that come through that nobody knows what to do with them, and they are hurt and they are broken, and they cause havoc and they disrupt people's lives, they destroy property, they're just angry. And I don't know how you solve that, whether the Hope Center is in this new location or whether they stay where they are, which obviously they can't because it's too small, or they go somewhere else. It's not going to make a difference with the other people. The people that go to the Hope Center are the ones that want to try to have a day to get out of the mess that they're in. And the Hope Center does tremendous work. I've seen that. Our church is just down the street from the Hope Center, and we see a lot of people in our church, and it scares a lot of parishioners from our church, from other churches, because they see these people and they're scared. And some of them are not scary. We have a lady that's works in our church, and she helps homeless, and she's 92 years old, and she is not afraid of anyone that comes to her door. And she's just a remarkable person. But there's other people who are a lot younger that would never do that job that she does. But she prays with them, she gives them food, she does whatever she can to help them. I don't know the answer. That's my problem. You can't, if it was possible for Hope Center to buy a different location, I think they would. I don't know how that came about, but it seemed like this was the only place that they found within reason, financially or however it was, to do that. And I know that there's traffic that goes up through that neighborhood where you folks live. I've been at the DAV, I know where that's at. And I have a friend of mine who still lives in North Rapid, and she does not go out at night either because of some of the things that go on. But she's not gonna move. She said, I'm just not moving. And I don't know what to say except that I think for me, and to make us easier to understand and make a decision, I think I would like to know somebody from the Hope Center that's going to start this to come up and talk a little bit about how they're going to, police in their area is not bad. I mean, our church has cameras that can go around and watch what's happening, but that's just our area, and we still have people sleeping on our front step, but I think to make the neighborhood and to us feel better, to know how we're going to treat people, we need to understand, because if we're going to do this and we'll come back in 6 months, we'll be very honest. We will, if it's not working, we will deny you, and then you're already there. So you have to really work hard to make sure that this is a working place and it's helpful to the neighborhood instead of detrimental. I just don't see that the Hope Center is going to make a lot of difference between what's there today and what might be there in a year from now. So I need to hear some of that information from you folks. And I don't know what else to say, but I am very familiar with what's going on, and I'd like to solve the homelessness, but I can't myself. But I can tell you I've seen it, so I know what's going on out there. So I'll yield to her to talk.
Okay, if you could identify yourself, and appreciate it.
My name is Melanie Tim. I'm the director of the Hope Center. I was choosing not to speak today because I'm a crier, and so I realize that can be very distracting. So we put in our proposal some of the safety measures that we currently have at the Hope Center that we would most definitely be bringing with us. 10 video cameras inside and outside of the Hope Center, our on-site full-time security guard, and obviously signage and some security lighting and things of that nature, which hopefully would be deterrents from people who are currently hanging around that property and hanging around the adjacent properties. It would deter them from continuing that bad behavior. What we do at the Hope Center, this is why I don't speak, because I simply cannot explain without being brought to tears, and it doesn't matter the audience. Talking at home to my husband, it's the same thing. We are so much more than people can comprehend. One of our guests is here today. I had probably 25 more that I had to say, no, please, you don't follow us to the meeting. Yes, we do laundry. Yes, we pass out hygiene kits and have a mailbox. But that's really not our main service. Our main service is building relationships. Before our security guard, who is absolutely amazing, by the way, I was the security person. I know I look like a marshmallow, but I have an iron fist, and I never really have to use it because all I have to do is put my hands on my hips and say, stop being a dumbass. And that takes care of the situation because that relationship is there, because the respect is there. And not everyone on East North Street and in their neighborhood is a guest of the Hope Center. Right. I think that is a total misconception. But we have a lot of our guests that are without a home. We do mentorship. We walk hand in hand with individuals through that process of getting that apartment, getting that home. If any of you happen to follow our Facebook page, there's an older gentleman by the name of Wyland. I see a nod. Wyland and I spend 10 minutes once a week together, and it is the best part of the entire week for both of us. But he comes to the Hope Center every single day, and he comes. The most important part of our day is our devotion time. It used to be a half hour. Sometimes it's an hour and a half. It is guest-led. It is every morning at 9 o'clock. I do devotions 4 days a week, and Pastor Brad, who you met, does devotions on Thursdays. And it's incredible. And I mean no disrespect to the pastors in the room, but it's powerful, way more powerful than any church service I've ever sat in. I know that we have some other volunteers here who participate in our devotions. Miss Sandra, she wrote a letter that you were given at the last minute today. And they can tell you, this is our time when anyone and everyone in the community comes together, and it's not just Hope Center guests. it's other individuals also, who come to the Hope Center and we sit in a space that is very respectful, and you are heard, and you are free to speak, and you are able to have the freedom to worship however you so choose, whether that be through song or your native tongue or whatever. And we come together collectively as a group and we talk about, why are you drunk and acting stupid across the street? Why are you harassing people outside the Starbucks at the Alex Johnson? Do you realize you're making all of us look bad? You know, and we have that accountability there for each other. And when I go to the Elks Theater with my family, it drives my family crazy because I can't get 3 blocks down the street without all the hugs and the knocking each other over. Melanie! So, you know, we have to leave 30 minutes early to go to the movie because I know that some of my people are downtown and I want to make a point to acknowledge them and to say, anybody got any jugs? Because if you do, you better toss them. And there is that accountability there through that relationship building. Now, only if people so choose to be a part of what we're doing. And so I would hope that in the future, 6 months from now, if there's still bad behavior in the neighborhood, that would not be the Hope Center's fault. Because we're going to continue to do what we do to anyone who is open to that, whether we're downtown or on East Boulevard North. But there was a day last week that I had 297 people come into the building. We had a lady yesterday who just got here, an elderly lady, just got here off of a bus 5 days ago from Jacksonville, Florida. She chose on her own Rapid City because she used to live here years ago. And she said it was too crazy in Jacksonville. And she came here. She has been homeless and on the streets. And she was in our building for 10 minutes. Somebody that she ran into downtown said, you need to go to the Hope Center. She came in with a walker and a backpack. And she sat down, and right away our security guy said, Melanie, right there, you need to talk to her. And so I walk up to her, and she has on sandals, and she has these fresh bandages all over her feet. And I said, hi, I'm Melanie. I'm the director here at the Hope Center. What's your name? She said, my name is Victoria. I said, Miss Victoria, what's going on with your feet? I have diabetic ulcers. I said, can I look at that? Because I see you're wearing some sandals and they're cutting into your feet because they're really swollen. And she said, well, yeah. And so she takes her bandages off, and it's bad, real bad. I don't know how she was upright. I did what we always do in a situation like that. I referred to the mobile medics. Tony from the mobile medics with the fire department came. He ended up calling an ambulance for her. And on her way out, she kept saying, oh, thank you for asking me about my feet. I don't know what happened later in the day, but these are the kinds of things that are happening almost minute by minute at the Hope Center.
Can I ask a follow-on question while you're up? So just for a feel for what we see at the neighborhood, you have hours of operation. Obviously, you're not open 24/7.
Yes.
What do you currently see? Do you have any issues before your operating hours or after your operating hours at your current location, just due to folks congregating there naturally?
So a couple of weeks ago, we had a meeting with, we have regular meetings at the Hope Center after we close with the quality of life staff and the mobile medics, where we staff specific individuals and how we can come together as a team to better meet their needs. During that conversation, we became aware, because we were not aware, that there was an influx this summer of downtown businesses contacting the chief of police and the mayor with concerns. My understanding is that this influx came after we had our transition with Mayor Solomon. And that led to an additional meeting and conversations with Ms. Vicki Fisher and her staff about what's currently happening in our location. So during the hours that we are in operation, our security guard is no longer allowing folks to congregate in front of our building, on our sidewalks, or in our parking lot. They need to keep moving. So this has caused a few of our guests to be pretty angry, but understanding that it looks bad is what keeps being told to us, that it looks bad. And so we've conveyed that to our guests, that we want to be good neighbors. But we're not taking responsibility for what happens when we're not open. And it's not that we don't want to, it's that, to use the same example that Ms. Brown used, does McDonald's take responsibility for what happens in their parking lot when they're not in operation? I mean, I don't know how the Hope Center can be responsible for someone's bad behavior if it's at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday when we're not open.
I guess I'm not asking you to take responsibility for others' behavior. We're not in charge. I just am more wondering, as a currently operating service, if you could provide the commission a feel for what to expect.
Mr. Chair, I apologize for my defensiveness, but I have had those conversations lately where I was instructed that I was going to have to be responsible. And so I apologize for jumping to conclusions there. My understanding is that from about 6 o'clock in the morning until we open at 8 a.m., that there are folks that are starting to make their way to the Hope Center, and the folks are congregating in that vicinity in groups. We've asked them to not do that. Quite honestly, we're that safe place and they're anxious for us to open. And so they want to come in and get their seat because they have a comfortable spot and they don't want other folks to get their chair first. Or they're, coming to, they do some of our houseless population, they do their own morning roll call. And so the Hope Center has become their meeting place to do their roll call and to check in with each other, to see who's missing, to see what happened the night before, and so forth. So those kinds of things happen within their own community outside of the Hope Center.
Thank you. Brooke?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a question for staff. So, Vicki, can you walk me through the 6-month piece again?
Mr. Chair.
Vicki?
Thank you. So this is something that we've done with other land uses that could potentially have a big impact on a neighborhood. What would happen in this situation is once the Hope Center secures that certificate of occupancy, and Melanie's indicated it could possibly be 2 to 3 years to do that. So starting that date, and we'll know because our office is the one that issues it, then we would come back in 6 months, notice the neighborhood so they'd have an opportunity to come back to the Planning Commission, and then everyone would have a voice as to what's working, what's not working, where's the solution, where's the responsibility lie, and then Planning Commission could at that time make an alternate decision if your desire is to approve it today. Or perhaps a better way of saying it, you could add additional stipulations of responsibility and accountability.
All right, Vince?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. I know you feel like you're not running a business, but because you do provide a lot of comfort, but when so many folks want to be there that they're waiting outside, it's a successful business, and you're growing, and you need to grow, because that's how a business does it. So I think the city needs to help. I think they need to be supportive and behind you. And I understand the neighbors. I wish there was a better way to patrol that, to make sure that we take responsibility for our neighbors. And if they're uncomfortable with something, we need to address it because we need to take it seriously, and we do. And if there was a solution, as Karen tried to point out, that we would have done it already. And so we're trying something, and I wish I can, I realize that the organization wants to provide a big hug for the community. And we can understand that, but what we need more is we need to make sure that those neighbors are respected, and I think you have a way to do that. And I think you're gonna learn how to reach out to those neighbors and maybe get more involved. And obviously, these neighbors figured out how to use the DAV, and it can be done. So they're resourceful, and they're gonna be an asset for you, I hope. Thank you.
Other comments or questions from the commission on this item?
I'll second it.
All right, Mike Gallagher made the motion to approve the final plan development with the 6 stipulations listed. And Vince seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion?
So I do. You guys are saying that.
You gotta, I'll ask you to come up to the microphone. Thank you, Mrs. Brown.
You guys are saying regardless of what the neighborhood wants, this is a done deal now. It's gonna go in there, the Hope Center's there regardless.
The motion on the floor is to approve it. You have the option of appealing it to the city council for further discussion.
So if I go right now, when I leave here, I'll go down and I'll start filming where they're at. And we'll show you guys what's gonna happen in that neighborhood that's happening at their neighborhood. See, like they said, they're not responsible after their hours are closed. After they're closed down, they're not responsible for that. So who's gonna be responsible up there when these guys close their doors? Us citizens that pay these taxes here, we're gonna have to go around and patrol that neighborhood because these guys don't do it.
Mr. Chair,
Vicky?
if I might, perhaps we could meet with you as soon as this meeting is over, and we could assist you if it's your desire to have city council hear this item, so that you get it done right now, and then we can get it scheduled for a meeting, and then you and the neighborhood, and in addition, all the letters that we've received for and against would follow on to city council, and then the council would make the final decision. And you do have 2 ward members for North Rapid that do sit on the council.
Yes, I know that. So this isn't a done deal is what I'm saying because.
If you or someone else appeals it, it's not a done deal.
Okay, well, me and my neighbor over there, we're gonna appeal it. I'll go to DAV and I'll get their signatures, because this is not gonna work. You guys don't understand. She's already having trouble down there with them, going over there whenever they're not open. That's gonna come, that whole thing's gonna come with this here situation. And then we got all these kids. You guys must not have little kids. I'm in a great grandma now, and I have little ones that run up and down. DAV's awesome for me. They let those kids play in their parking lot because we have nothing in this city for these little kids. So my thing is, why don't the Hope Center take the old social services building?
Mr. Chair, if I might,
Vicky?
thank you for your comments. Perhaps we could
Yeah,
finish the
we're gonna
business here,
meet. We're
and
gonna
then
meet.
Tanner will assist you after the meeting, and then we'll make sure everyone knows what date that item would be considered by council, so everyone can be in attendance again.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so the motion on the floor is to approve this plan development with the 6 stipulations. Seeing no other lights up, we'll take a vote. All those in favor, please say aye. 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 Opposed? The motion carries. That's the end of our regular agenda today. Anything for us on discussion items, Vicky?
Yes, so we've kind of gotten into the habit at this time in the meeting where we kind of go off script. We talk about previous applications, what we might have done better or not better. I am recommending that we take this line item to only discuss welcoming new members, if we've got training coming up, if someone's got a burning desire, and then we adjourn the meeting, we can then go off camera outside of the legal component of the planning commission and have some 101 planning type discussions. We're getting a little dangerous with bringing up past applications, and those people aren't there to defend themselves.
Seems like a fair comment.
Okay. That being said,
anything-
we have no items.
Anything from the commission? Motion? Oh, Mike made the motion to adjourn. Karen seconded it. All those in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye.